Hello everybody, and welcome to our interview in conversation with Neil Wirasinha from NBC Universal. I'm Josh Krichefski, Global COO of MediaCom, and I will be your compere today, or your interviewer today. So I'm just going to give you a quick intro to Neil. It's great to have you here, Neil. Thank you for joining us today. Neil is an ex-engineer turned marketeer. He started out in media agencies in the late 90s, working on Unilever, and I actually worked with Neil in those days, back in the late 90s at Initiative Media. But then he went on to work on Levi's and BMW at 3 different agency groups before moving to the client side in 2003, where he kicked off a career in film marketing at Universal International Pictures, before moving to Universal Pictures in 2007. He's Senior Vice President and Head of Media for the movie studio across its 127 international territories. And he sits on the Career Academy Board for the Haverstock School in Camden, the UK Client Council for Facebook and Instagram, and he leads the DEI program across EMEA for Universal Pictures. Outside of work, he's a very impressive man. He's a qualified karate instructor, dad of 2 teenagers, and married to another MediaCom client. And he walks his dog every morning at 8 a.m. in Wandsworth Common. So, Neil, very nice to have you on board today. Welcome.
Thank you, Josh.
It's really good to have you. I'm really pleased that you agreed to do it. We've probably got about 20 minutes or so. Shall I kick off with the first question?
Yeah, please do. Fire away.
Okay, cool. So, question number 1. So, it's been very well documented how cinema has suffered during the pandemic. How's Universal coped with this disruption? And I suppose, what are the things that you've done personally and as a business to get through it?
All right, well, look, I mean, the pandemic, the disruption has hit pretty much everybody, but at a point in time, pretty much every single cinema across the world was closed at some point. So disruptive to our business, to say the least. And movie studios operate to very, very clear models about maximizing our revenue. So it's all about picking the right date, maximum number of locations, getting the right marketing campaign in to reach the right audience. And there's very much a front end to that model, which we call the first window, the theatrical model, the part that we work in. And that first window has been designed over years to maximize the income for the business units, to create some latency in terms of demand, be that for physical DVDs, sales TV broadcasts of both premium and free-to-air deals, and of course the electronic sell-through or rental. So when you lose that first window, when every single cinema closes its doors, you've got to think really, really fast. You've got to first of all look at, we put together, all movie studios operate a slate year. They are fixed pieces of work. Every single film, typically somewhere between 20 and 30 movies. Each of those has a separate business plan behind each and every one of those. So when that first window changes, you've first of all got to look at those business plans and decide how you're going to reshape those. And I think that the business culture around how you make those decisions is really, really important. You've got to protect the metrics. We are a business like any other business, and that's our priority. Having a really big backer, Comcast, who owns NBC Universal, it gives you somebody that's got that high level thinking, that's actually winning during a pandemic with sales of broadband in the US. When you can move films across years or across different periods, and you're not chasing a quarter close, really helps you put a better plan in place. Also, it's really important, incredibly important for us, to respect our relationship with filmmakers. Filmmakers, it can take 10 years for them to make that film, from idea to finished film. It's our responsibility, and very much the marketeer's responsibility, in how do you actually share that film? How do you actually take it out best you can? So, we've had to move films across years, multiple years, or later in years. A couple of movies we actually, with Comcast as our backer, decided to accelerate things. Lots of companies have accelerated plans. So we tried PVOD, so premium video on demand, to see what the audience appetite was and at what price point. Because when cinema doors are closed, you've really got to try and do something, incredibly different. And that, just having that kind of clear business thinking, that clear sense of decision making, and also very clear metrics has allowed us to navigate that really, really well. And that disruption is not the same for everybody. It's different. Our cinema going partners as well. So our cinema chains, they've really struggled. They're a real cash business. And I think that's been really difficult. And I think the other difficult thing is that all movie studios have operated differently. Some have lent even more heavily into their own digital platforms. Some have pulled releases entirely. The most important thing for all of us is to bring audiences back to cinemas in the safest way possible and let them enjoy the movies. It's genuinely the best way to experience film. And I think also when it comes to disruption, in terms of what I've done about it, it affects everybody differently, right? Some of us are incredibly lucky to live in homes with decent Wi-Fi and maybe with a garden. So it's a real challenge for more of our teams, and losing that physical connection with your teams and the individuals within that can take a real heavy toll on well-being. So I spent a lot more time doing one-to-ones with the team. It's been great getting a little window into their lives. But then when you understand, actually, this is something that might last 2 years before we physically go back, and it goes back to a normal, whatever that normal will be. We wanted to make sure we had a resilience plan in place as well. So we ran some sessions with a resilience coach. Of course, we've had a few virtual events and a couple of team meetups as well. But I think there's one of the things I've learned an awful lot. Something I definitely want to continue is, sometimes you can get wrapped up in the business and the business metrics. We're a people business. We're a talent business, exactly the same as the creative industries are, and our people are the most important thing. So it's been good, clear decision making from a business side and deep reflection of human beings. That's who make up our teams, and just celebrating them and caring about them a little bit more, and caring about yourself a little bit more too.
Yeah, I'm really pleased to hear you say that, and I know that's true of you as a leader, and I absolutely agree with you. I think resilience. Our people are our greatest asset. There's absolutely no question about that. Resilience is something that actually is innate in us, but it takes quite a lot of work for adults to kind of try and find that in themselves, because a lot of it gets knocked out of you as you grow up. And I think it's something that you can have, and then you can lose, and then you can have again. So I definitely echo your feeling that it's something that we need to really focus on as employers moving forward as we come out of the pandemic, and not something that we should forget about when things go back to normal, whatever normal may be. But so I think that's music to my ears. But I think also it'd be fair to say that you guys have really been. I think with Trolls, Trolls became a direct consumer products rather than cinema, for the reasons that you just gave. And I think tell me if I'm wrong. I think you're being quite collegiate when you say we've all been doing this, but I really think Universal were first movers in that space, and others followed in how they distributed content. So I'd say congratulations on that. I think it's been a big learning for all of us. So my second question to you is linked to that. So streaming continues to rise, and you're right. There's no experience like a cinematic experience, but streaming is rising with the launch of Peacock in the US. What are your feelings about this new opportunity for Universal internationally, and is it going to change the way that you market cinema, and the kinds of campaigns and the shapes of the campaigns moving forward?
It's a great question. Look, it's pretty clear. I think all of us have more subscriptions than ever before, and some of those services are brilliant consumer experiences, and some of them definitely need a refresh. They could polish up the front end to make it a bit more fun. But in truth, it's great. Look, more people are watching long form content than ever before. Fact, right? More people are watching movies, and social plays a role within that as well. If that is a scene from American Gangster from 2007 that's trending on TikTok, but then people are going back to watch those brilliant films, and and discovering people like Denzel Washington that I've grown up marketing his films, watching his films, and that's like, wow, this is a great find. You know what? Those are fantastic things that those to a millennial audience, to a Gen Z audience, they would call them classics. I always think of classics being black and white films, and some of those amazing films from the 50s and 60s. But you know what? That is just generational, and I'm really pleased that more people are falling in love with the movies, right? And of course, we use some of that evergreen content ourselves on our own social channels to promote that. I'm really pleased as a company, right, that we've got skin in the game with Peacock, which had a brilliant US launch. And there are, of course, plans to roll that out internationally. I think that's fantastic. Again, being part of one of those larger ecosystems where you've got Sky as part of the family gives you a chance to have a great carriage provider that's in millions and millions of homes across Europe. So I think we'll get there really quickly. Now, look, will it change the way that we market cinema releases in the future? Well, yes, it has to. It genuinely has to. Will it change the importance of the first window, the cinematic experience? I don't think so. I hope not. I'm still, like I say, I'm still in love with the magical experience of going to the movies. But when it comes down to brass tacks, these are two great businesses, and they serve a purpose, and they serve audiences in different ways. And I think actually, there's going to be a complementary way in how both those businesses drive transactions. I mean, fundamentally, our business, the way that our transactions happen, we don't get a lot of data back from the cinema chains. We are going through the pandemic and people having to book seats in advance. There's a greater data opportunity, and we are working with exhibition to make sure that we can continue to be more relevant to film fans. So I think those two combined pieces, we're going to have more data opportunities, more area for growth. I mean, it's not going to change. I love watching movies, and I get really excited going to the movies, going to the cinema. It's a real event. I know that we're all busy people, right? You get to dedicate some time, genuinely relax. I don't think there's any sort of in a propaganda in why you turn your phone off. That's not to not let any other media in the cinema. So you can actually just really indulge and get to that level of pure escapism that I think the movies really provide. But equally, I love watching movies at home. It's not quite the same. There are more distractions. I'm not perhaps as deeply invested, but it's designed for a different purpose. It's designed for convenience and not pure escapism. And that's why I think those two businesses will continue to do really, really well. And the game of the TV broadcasters out there as well have upped their game so much that I don't think we've ever had such a brilliant time of quality programming, quality movies. And there's a space for all. I think it's going to be really difficult, and it is difficult to actually, succeed at the box office. We'll come on to some of that shortly, but I think it's a brilliant time. I'm really glad that Universal is part of NBCU. That Peacock has a very different model to HBO Max and Disney Plus. I think it's smart having a different strategy. So you can start to win and understand audience a bit more, because fundamentally we do everything that we do so we get a greater understanding of our audience and start to give them some phenomenal experiences, be that in the movies or at home.
Yeah, no, I mean, I totally agree. I think, and as you said earlier, it's a golden age for long form content, and actually that can be consumed in so many different ways now, and I'm sure that will be reflected in the way that we market movies depending on how they're going to be consumed. And you talked about data, you talked about the exhibitors. I know that we're looking at frameworks for how we look at first, second and third party data in different local markets, and that depends on the local market. And also we have to have in mind kind of longevity of data partnerships with the third party cookie going away. So there's a lot of things to be considering in the data space, but also like I've been in the industry for such a long time, as I know you have as well. And I've loved so many of kind of the high impact stature moment, big format media innovations that we've done with you guys. And I really hope that those don't go away as well, because I think that they're incredibly exciting. They make cities look beautiful, and they get you really excited about the movies. And I really hope that doesn't go away as well. That's just like a personal ask of mine.
They are definitely not going away. Being relevant, standing out, being an event. If you act like an event, you become an event. And but also using lots of other different channels to make it feel, cultural things happen because it's on multiple platforms and it's talked about. And that's always really, really important on those big films. So yeah, don't worry, Josh, we're not gonna let you down. Good. We're still going to have a lot of fun in those areas.
Excellent. Okay, good. Right, my next question is around. I expect this is you can give me a quick answer on this. I mean, but I'm interested in understanding it. obviously you've had to adapt as a business. Your expectations of us, your media agency network, probably have changed as well. So do you want to talk to us a bit about that and about how those have changed?
Yeah, definitely. Look, when cinemas across the world closed, we had a huge sum of money already locked into the market. Our agencies have been our heroes in the trenches with us. I mean, every single person that's worked on the Universal account has worked with media owners to say, look, we can't actually sell a movie ticket here. How do we move that money further along the year, out of year? How do we keep that relationship healthy and happy? So I would say that you guys have protected us incredibly well, and we owe you a huge amount of gratitude for that. And our company, not just myself, we're really aware of that. It was mentioned actually at CinemaCon in Vegas last week around the support of Group M in particular as an agency that's helped us navigate that difficult time. And also, it's not been a restful time. Whilst we haven't had movies to release, you guys have also been helping us roll out better tech, better reporting, more insights. It's been a really, really busy year, putting some brilliant architecture in place. And we've got the opportunity now to build some real actionable outcomes. So look, I'm just in admiration of how I always want our agencies to feel like an extension of us as our teams. And I do admire that in our troubled hours that you flexed and really supported us on that. So I think it's created a greater partnership. And again, I'm very thankful for it.
Oh, well, that's good. I mean, listen, we really appreciate the relationship as well. And I know that the team do feel like an extension of your team. And I think that's why we all work very well together. And so that's good to hear. So shifting gear a bit, we've got Fast 9 out in cinemas. We've got James Bond coming. How are you as a company feeling about the health of the box office right now?
Oh, it's if I was a doctor, I would say that take your vitamins. It's not as healthy as we'd like it to be. Fast and Furious 9 launched over the summer. It passed $500 million. Still a handful of markets to go. For comparison, it's pretty similar to Fast and Furious 6 in 2013, but it's a way off Fast 8, which grossed $1 billion. But Fast has actually fared a lot better than some of the other movies out there: Suicide Squad, Godzilla versus Kong, Free Guy, Black Widow, just to name a few. And I think we have a really loyal fan base. I know Marvel do as well. But when you buy a ticket to Fast and Furious, it's all the money is on the screen. It's a big screen experience. And also, we didn't confuse consumers. There was not a digital release of this. You couldn't watch it somewhere else. It was all about that, going to the movies. For us, the next big one up by the end of this month, we'll be launching Bond, No Time to Die. It's going to be an amazing run. I can't actually wait to see those campaigns come live. Very excited. If you want to see big city dominations, it's around the corner. Bond is exactly what the industry needs right now. Bond is incredibly unique as a movie franchise that pulls out fans that probably only go and see Bond when it gets released, right? So This is exactly what our industry needs, and I'm incredibly excited to see it. I think the filmmakers and the teams behind us and kind of backing our decision to go now, I mean, they should be incredibly proud of themselves, because we're gonna do really well. But we're also helping the industry, and I'm also incredibly proud of everybody at Universal and our agencies and their families for helping our business survive over that last 18 months. And we're going to get stronger, we're going to learn a lot, and we're going to grow from here.
Brilliant. And look, so my final kind of like formal question, because I'm going to go into a few quick fires for you as well. But I mentioned in your bio about the fact that you're leading DEI for Universal Pictures across EMEA, which is excellent. And we've seen a lot of changes over the past 18 months around this area. I'm really interested in understanding a bit about what NBC's approach to creating a more inclusive culture is.
Well, look, Josh, it's something that's really important, I think, to all of the business leaders, and it's really important to all of our staff as well. And the death of George Floyd was a huge catalyst for everybody to take a deep look inside, and Universal's, NBC Universal's no exception to that. I've been heavily involved in our DEI efforts, and it's really important actually not to get, for a better word, constipated about it. You've got to break it down to the constituent parts and tackle each one. And I would say, be brave, be really brave to have the conversations. that you think, oh, I don't know how to start this, I think just start it. Remain authentic, right? Challenge the things that have been done before, and in a way, just as all of us try to reduce our anxiety about taking action, because action definitely speaks louder than words. And getting DE right, it isn't just a bolt onto a business plan. It's not something you do at the end of the week as an ancillary. It should be something that you think about on Monday morning. It's something more profound. It's about the culture of how you operate. And actually, Group M's own Karen Blackett joined me on a Universal series we have called Behind the Curtain, and it was great actually to talk to Karen about her experience and sharing her thoughts with us. So if Karen gets a chance to see this, thank you again, Karen. Wonderful conversation. But it's something that's going to take us time, Josh, to be honest. There are a bunch of things that we can do quickly now and get those in place. And inclusion can be anything. We're all working on Microsoft Teams or other services, and there's a way of actually even conducting a meeting to allow perhaps some of the more introverted people in our teams to add to the chat function, and we can then draw those pieces out. So there's a huge amount of human learning that is wrapped up in this, and I'm glad that it's a really important part of everybody's business that has signed up, that want to challenge this. But again, like I said, we've got to be brave, we've got to be authentic, we've got to do what really feels right. I think we all have good moral compasses. It's just that perhaps we were just a little bit unsure of how to use it.
Yeah, I mean, I'd say what I've been pleased to see. I mean, it's really good to hear you talking like that, I have to say. And I think for us as a business, we certainly for the last 10 years or so, I think we've been very focused on bringing diverse people into the business at a junior level. But I think if we're really honest, I don't think we've ever really given the attention to understanding that an actual collective understanding that we're all involved and all of us have played a part in inequality, actually, in society. And I think that's something that I think people have always gone, this is a problem, absolutely, but it's a problem I'm not a part of. And now I think people are saying, actually, do you know what? I am a part of this. And if you don't act, if you're not somebody who's going to act, then you are basically perpetuating the problem. And an inclusive culture is the solution. That's what you want to be creating. And so it's really pleasing to hear you speak about it. It's really pleasing to hear what you're doing as a business. And I absolutely echo everything you say. And really,
yeah, Josh, sorry to interrupt. I would say that it would be great for us to talk more about it, because the things that we learn, I think it's really important. It's one of those things that, as we all learn as different businesses, just to continue to share, because it's one of those things that we collaborate will definitely make a bigger societal change for all of us, which is obviously the win.
Definitely. I mean, we've just done this training at MediaCom with a company called Fearless Futures, which is it's quite uncomfortable training. So you actually, you're having conversations that are really quite uncomfortable, and it's necessary, because unlike sort of unconscious bias training, which is very much designed about being comfortable in the conversation, this is literally designed about being uncomfortable in the conversation and really understanding the root causes of inequality in society. And it was kind of, they call it unlearning. It was definitely, it really made me reflect upon things and upon, how I've lived my life, and am I really as good an ally as I really think I am? And so we should talk more, definitely. And it's good conversation to be having. Right. Quick fire round, some personal questions. I'm really going to be putting you on the spot here, so apologies in advance. So question number one, what is your favorite line from a poem, song, or book?
Right, well, I'm gonna flip this, and I'm going to add film to that, because I'm in film, right? 1979 film, The Life of Brian. I probably don't even need to say the line. He's not the Messiah. He's a very naughty boy. Gets me every single time without fail.
Very good. Very good. Very good. Okay, number two. What lesson has been the hardest to learn?
You know what? I would say be kind to yourself. I'm from a generation that you just don't do that. And I've taken the wisdom of my younger colleagues in my team to for them to take a beat and say, are you okay? I've never thought about that. Never thought about it. So, and I don't think I would ever have done it unless I was open-minded enough to listen to some of my junior members. So yes, be kind to yourself. I think
Yeah.
it wouldn't have come to me naturally.
I think that's very wise, and it reminds me of, you know, when you're on an aeroplane and they say, you know, put the gas mask over yourself before you put it over somebody else, and I think that's what it's about, you know. Question number 3: if you could invite 5 guests to a dinner party, who would they be?
Wow, that's a good one. First up, I would probably say, you won't know this name, Shrivmo Bandanayake. She was the first female prime minister in the world. She's from Sri Lanka, where I'm from. She was a prime minister in 1960. Really interesting story. You should read up on her. There's a brilliant BBC clip about her. It's about 4 minutes long. I do urge anybody to go check her out. Yeah, Shrivmo.
Okay,
So check her out. She's amazing.
I'll write that down.
Second, because I love my food and my wine, without a doubt, Keith Floyd. Brilliant man, a legend of a man, brilliant broadcaster, and I just think he was so unfiltered in how he shared his world. I just love to spend time with him. Third, I've met this person, not close up, but met this person in meetings. It's J-Lo. And I say J-Lo because, you know, she's still Jenny from the block, not my block. You know, I was Leicestershire borders, but she's transcended both music and film, and I think she's just an all-round, you know, fabulous celebrity. And, you know, if you're a fan, she's in one of our films out I think it's Valentine's Day next year. Genius. So yeah, J-Lo, why not have her at the table if you can? And then the last two, I think, come as a duo, not because they are friends or partners. I think it's just that everybody likes a little bit of spice at a dinner party. So I'd invite Santan Dave, the British rapper, songwriter and producer. He's an outstanding talent who's got a real connection with society, and I think he really conducts himself really well, manages his platform really well. He's also on tour. I've already bought my tickets for February next year at the O2. And I would sit him next to our Prime Minister, Boris Johnson. I think Santan Dave and Boris Johnson would be an amazing dinner party watch. And I just love to have Keith Floyd and J-Lo and Shrivmo next to me as we watch that play out. I think we'd all learn a lot.
It would certainly kick off. Okay, number 4. Where in the real world or fictional world would you like to live, and why?
Oh gosh, Josh, I've been really lucky with my job. I'm not going to lie. I've travelled to some amazing places with Universal, and there's one place that really stands out. It's a place called Punta del Este in Uruguay. It is heaven, absolute heaven. You know, the brilliant vibe, beautiful beaches. There's an amazing restaurant, La Huella, which is right on the beach. I think it is the best restaurant on the planet.
Wow. Okay. I've never. I mean, sorry. I've heard of Punta del Este. I've heard of that. Specifically where you've been. I haven't heard about the restaurant, but I've heard about the beach, and I've never been there, and I would like to go there. It sounds amazing. All right. Number 5. Neil Wirasinha. When are you at your happiest?
You know what I would say, and this is really something that's come to me from lockdown, is being with friends and family. My eldest brother hosts the best barbecues in my hometown of Leicester. And I don't think I've ever shedded as many pounds of pressure and anxiety that's been built up the moment I sit down with the family and friends around a barbecue and relax. So getting to the simple stuff in life and just relaxing, kicking back. And also, you know, it's been a bit of an awakening that we can actually, you know, be kind to ourselves, know when we've got it good, because you got family and friends around you and a good meal, right?
Absolutely right. And that is what a perfect note to finish this on. I mean, we talk about seeing the bigger picture at MediaCom, and that is what it's about, isn't it? Friends and family, you know, actually kicking back, having perspective, and doing the finer things in life. It's been such a joy talking to you, Neil. Thank you so much for your time. Yeah, you know, I hope everyone's enjoyed it, and we'll catch up soon.
Thanks, Josh. Nice to meet everyone. Take care.
Cheers, Neil.
Bye.